For this video, I would like to go over the PiCamera stop motion project. So that project is going to be found, this is for CIS-1605. It's going to be found in the physical computing modules, usually week 7 and 8 of the class. Scroll down a little bit here. Alright, so we did the PiCamera fun, and now we have the PiCamera stop motion. And there's a web page here, which I've already opened here, that will give you the instructions. And those instructions, they work fine. There's a lot of repeat of what we just did in the PiCamera. So they, get your camera connected, get it tested, do a selfie, that kind of thing. What I'd like to do is kind of highlight a couple of things, show you a shortcut to getting this project finished, because I'm a big fan of using things that we have already used. You're welcome to go through the entire tutorial. It's not going to hurt to go through the tutorial. However, if kind of utilizing things that we've already done is of interest, right? And how to repackage these things is of interest, then that's what this video is going to be all about. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the assignment here, and in the introduction, right, what we're going to learn, right? So how to connect the PiCamera module, like it's all things that we've done already, except for this very last piece where we're actually going to generate a video from a bunch of pictures. Okay, so what I want to look at this right here, right? So for this project, you are going to need a Raspberry Pi and a full-size breadboard, 2 male to female jumper leads, and a button. Right, so we're going to create a button, real similar to what we did in class, or what we did in the PiCamera fun project. The other thing we need to do, all these projects want you to do a sudo apt update, sudo apt upgrade, and then we're going to install ffmpeg. Right, so we need to install this on our Raspberry Pi. Okay, I'm going to caution you, right, because I think you should do the update, right? That'll get the new list, and then I think we should do the upgrade, or this install. But I don't think we need to do the upgrade unless you have time, right? So if you're in class, if you're watching this in class and you're working in lab, then don't do the upgrade. I don't like students to do the upgrade in the classroom, because it usually sucks up all their time. Now, if you have a Raspberry at home, right, do those first two things, let it do its deal. It'll probably take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to get done, and then come back and then do the lab. It's always helpful to have your machine updated. However, I don't want you to lose time in the lab. So if you're in lab while you're watching this video and trying to do this lab, this assignment, don't do the upgrade. Okay, so I have connected to a Raspberry Pi OS. This is the legacy version. Remember, in order for the PiCamera stuff to work, you have to use the legacy version. If you're using the current Bullseye version or newer, this PiCamera assignment will not work. Okay, it won't recognize the camera properly. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to open up a terminal, and we are going to sudo apt-get update. And this is just going to give us the list. This is real similar to, say, on a Windows machine, going to the look for updates, right? So when you go to updates on a Windows machine, so like for example, if I just do updates here, right, check for updates, this is the same thing, right? This right here is the same thing in the Linux world. It is going out and comparing my files on my computer to the files that are maintained by the repository, or the group that manages this distribution, and they're comparing those files, and it will give me a list of what I need to update. When I do the upgrade, it would give me all the new versions. Now, we're not going to do the upgrade today, but we are going to do this next command, sudo apt install ffmpeg. So sudo apt install mmpeg. Did I get that right? Seems like I did it wrong. FFM. Wow, nice, Gary. So FFmpeg. Okay. So this one says it already is the newest version. right? I want to make sure, and I'm going to do a -- upgrade. And it's just verifying I am the latest version. I have the latest version of this software on my machine. So this is just one last little double check to make sure. That's just something that I'm comfortable doing, because I'm leery that the versions aren't right. Now you'll see that in the other stop motion assignment that we'll do a little bit later when we do the GUI assignment, because even though you have the software installed, if it's not the latest version through the upgrade process, your assignment won't work. Okay, so that's why we do that, just to make sure. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to move that off to the side. So I've done my update. I've done my FFmpg. I am not going to. We don't need to connect the camera. I've already connected the camera. In fact, I don't know if you can see. I'm going to move this over. So this is actually, I've got a camera connected, and you can see right here, right, I've got my Raspberry Pi connected. Right, here's my Raspberry Pi and my camera connected. You can see this is the same screen, right? So in fact, if I were to, you can see my mouse. See my mouse there? Right there at the bottom of the Brooklyn Bridge, right there. I don't know if that's Brooklyn or not. That's actually from downtown Manhattan. It might be. Anyways, right, so you can see my mouse. So this is my computer connected to this Raspberry Pi with a camera already connected. All right. All right, so move those out of the way. So testing the camera, taking a picture, connecting the hardware button, right? Let's connect the hardware button. I'm going to actually pause the video, grab the pieces of equipment, come back, plug it in, and then start the video back up. So hang tight while we're working on this. Go ahead and get a button connected. This is going to use GPIO 17 and the ground. Same exact thing that we've done for our previous assignment. All right, so I had one already put together, right, from a previous assignment that we were working on. And then on my board down here, I need to connect to ground, which is the third pin, which is right down, kind of hard to see right there, right, third pin there. And I'm going to connect to the sixth pin, this pin right here, to get my button connected. Okay, I'm just double checking right down in here to make sure that this pin and that leg and this pin and that leg are connected. Double check over here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I believe I'm in good shape right there. Okay, so I've got my button and I've got my camera connected. So if we maybe get a better. There we go. So button, camera. So you just want to kind of see where you want to see, where you can see the edge of the screen here. You can see my button here, and you can see my camera there. Okay. So I don't know if can we drop that into the corner? Whoops. I'm going to set this off to the side over here. Maybe I can make it a little bit smaller so it's not so intrusive. Doesn't look like I can. Let's bring back up this set of instructions. So I've got this connected. Okay. I'm not going to worry about taking a selfie, but I am going to look at the stop motion section, right? So this is the stop motion instructions. Scoot this over to the side here. I think I can, there we go. Make that a page, and then this is my Raspberry Pi, and for giggles, I've got my camera down here so you can kind of see the action going on. Okay, now if I take a look here, the very first thing I need to do is I need to make a directory, right? It tells you right up front, make a directory called animation. Okay, so on my computer file folder, right, and we need to put this in. You're gonna put it here, right? New file, new folder, right? And the folder needs to be called animation, all lowercase, animation. Okay, so I've created an animation folder in my home directory, which is home/pi. Okay, so close that down real quick. Now, you can just run this code. Okay, one thing I don't like about this code is a while true loop, so it's a forever loop. And when you're done, you have to escape out of the program. So that means you have to count you have to count the 75 times that you need, the 75 frames that you need. And I think we should just reuse some previous code to make this really a simple process. Instead of doing this whole while true and creating this crazy stuff, what we're going to do is on the computer that you know, on your Raspberry where you did the PiCamera assignments, right? You created one, and I've already had it brought up here, but I created one called Camera Loop. This is right out of the assignments, right? It's one of the files that you saved. Okay, where we import the camera, we import GPIO 0, we know button from GPIO 0, we import sleep, set the PiCamera, set the button to 17, we turn on the alpha 192 so I can see through the screen, okay, and then for eye in range 5, right, we need to take 75 pictures, so we're simply going to change that range to 75, wait for press, so every time I press a button it will go through this process. This has a sleep of 1 second. I don't want to waste time waiting for that, so I'm going to get rid of the sleep. And then this piece right here is really the only piece we really have any kind of major changes on. You see over here, home, Pi, animation, and then we have this frame set up. So right here, I'm going to put in animation. That is that folder that we created a second ago. And then we're going to change the name of the file to frame percentage 03d.jpg. Okay, and what this is going to do, let's actually finish this up real quick. And then instead of the dot format I, we get rid of all of this piece here, and we're going to hand it the frame, which is the actual number, and actually right here, I did make a mistake. So I have for eye in range. We want to do for frame in range. Okay, because we want frame to count up, and we want to hand frame to this percentage here. And what this little piece here is going to do, it's going to put 3 digits, right? So 3 places. And if I give it the frame, the first time through the frame, it's going to be a 1, right? Because I want it to be a 1. So we're going to actually set frame equal to 1, which is this code right there. Okay, frame equal to 1. So when I hit this, frame is going to start counting at 1. And when I get down here, it's going to create a file called frame 001. And then it's going to go through the loop. And then it's going to go frame 002, frame 003, frame 004. We want to maintain this format so that when we get to the creation of the video, you're going to be able to you'll have the right formats. Okay, but so what I just did is I didn't have to create this from scratch. I didn't have to go through the entire assignment, right? I was able to pinpoint, right? I've already done connecting the camera. I've already done taking a picture. I've already done, taking a selfie, right? I have these programs already on my computer. Let me modify one of those, okay? So now this one, instead of being camera loop, I'm going to file, save as, and I'm going to save this as my stop motion loop, okay? So I have a file called stop motion loop, right, which is going to do 75 frames of stop motion, okay? So real quick, just going to take some pictures to make sure this is working. So if I hit play, we should be able to, let me grab my, okay, so you're not seeing much there, so if I go, I'm not going to see it because what's going, actually you can see. So in this right here, you see that movement right there? That's me actually in my chair. So here's me. So I've got a preview up on the screen, so you can see the preview on the screen. If I were to press the button, we should see a little bitty blip on the screen, right? Do you see that little blip? So it took a picture. So then if I'm going to go over here and I'll make a couple more pictures. So there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3, there's a 4, there's a 5. Okay, so I took 5 pictures. Okay, now for your stop motion, you're going to continue to take, right, 75 total pictures. And don't do what I just did, because that's not the intent of this, right? You're supposed to set up a little scene. So use like little action figures that you have, or that your kids have, or Legos that you have, or just any kind of objects. Like if you have, like I know somebody turned in one with a couple of cats playing around, things like that. Somebody did one where the Arduino built itself. So there's all kinds of, just take little objects and try to create a little story, right? Aim your camera, right? Your camera over here. Aim your camera right at a really small space, and then use that space to create a story. And I think if you do that, right, you'll end up with kind of a really fun project. Okay, and once you've run through this and you've got all 75 frames, it will kick out, the camera will stop, the preview will go away, and it'll drop out. Then you know at that point you've got 75 frames. Okay, your frames, if this was done correctly, should show up here. Frame 000, frame 001, frame 002, frame 003, right, so on and so forth. Okay, so we have all these frames that we're going to now convert to a video. I only have 5 frames, so it's not going to look very good. But let's take a look at how that would work. Okay, so here's the program that we created, and we just used an old program that we had before. And then this is my, I'm going to close these two things down, right? So now that I've collected all my stuff, my camera's turned off, let's take a look at how we do this. Back to the instructions, and on the generating the video, here's the command that we're going to run right here. Okay. Now I will warn you, this R10 sets the frames as like 10 frames per second, so that's really fast, right? So you're going to probably want to do this at R5, maybe even a little slower. It even tells you down here, right, to adjust the frame settings. Yeah, but let's, at the command prompt, we're going to type this in, right? ffmpeg -r. I'm going to do mine 1 frame a second, just so we can hopefully see this animation. I've only done 5 frames, right? So animation / frame percentage 03d .jpg, right? So this is using that same exact format that we used in the program. Then Q scale is equal to 2. And every year I look that up, and every year I'm like, okay, why? But we just continue to use that piece. That's one of those pieces we just leave unanswered. Right? So I'm going to create I'm using FFmpeg at a rate of 1 frame a second. I'm going to grab the files out of this folder, and I'm going to create a file called MP4. Okay. So we're going to try MP4 and see what happens. All right. So let's do it. I'm going to hit enter. So that didn't look very good at all. Let's see. I don't think that actually created a file. Maybe I don't have enough pieces. I'm going to open up VLC player. I'm going to look at media, open file. There's no files there, so maybe I typed in something wrong in my command. Let's see what's going on here. There's a lot of gobbledygook for this one simple command. Seems like I typed it in wrong. Oh, I did. I got way wrong. Okay, right here, R1, and then there's nothing before I got to animation. There should be a -I. So this command doesn't have any idea what I'm trying to do. All right, so let me go back and do that command over. So ffmpeg -r1, and then I'm going to do a -I, and then an animation / frame percentage 03d jpeg -q scale 2 animation mpeg. So let's see if I enter on this one. Do I get? All right, so I got some stuff here, right? Q scale ignored. Yeah, so that was one of the things that we had seen in the past. Like, why are we doing that? All right, so it looks like I should have created. It should have created a file, right? If I go to media, open file, did it put it in the right place? Oh, here it is, animation MP4. It's in my home directory. So if I run that, okay, so, and this is one thing that you're going to see, and I'm okay with it acting funny like this, but when I hit play, like, it only showed me one of those pictures. So it had issues because it's only 5 pictures. I wonder if we should do this. Let's try to do maybe one per second is, or 1 frame per second is too much, too little. Let's do like 3 and see. That'll only give us 1.5 seconds, so it's not going to be a very long video no matter what I do. And then yes, I'm going to overwrite that, and then it does say, like, I could from this command write VLC animation dot MP4, right? And that brings up the VLC player. And it's not letting me, yeah, it's not letting me actually mess with that. Let me see what's going on there. So if I play here, oh, I may have messed up my animation file by doing that. Which is okay. This is what we're trying to figure out. So there's my frames. I didn't do enough frames, I don't think. I think that's what's really the problem. I'm going to go back and see if I do this at 1 frame per second. And then let me change the format. Instead of MP4, let's do H.264, which is it's actually right down here, right? So I'm wondering if that gives me a better result. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But what I'm looking for from you, so this is not going to be, oh, I should open media first. So I just open up the file, open media. I think we have to just tell it all files and look for the H.264 one. There's the H.264 one. All right, so yeah, so that one's really only showing, it's only rendering that one. I think it's showing the frames, but it's, oh no, it's doing it. So let me do this. Here's why it's not, you're not seeing it. It's all the actions on the other side of the screen. Because I think that one side of the screen looks exactly the same. So there's, right, 2. So it's only showing the first 2, those 2, my 2, you know, me counting to 2 instead of up to 5. I counted all the way to 5. Let's see what else it does here real quick. Oops, I didn't want to bring up that. I want to bring back up the VLC player, and I want to open up the MP4 file, right? So this file. And see if it counts, if it even plays. Oh, this is the screwed up one, right? That's the screwed up one. So that's the one where I tried to change the timing of it and it messed it up. And so now what we'll do here is I'm going to go MP4 and hit enter. Yeah, we're going to overwrite this one again. And I think we should end up with something that at least shows a couple of the frames. I think when you have 75 frames, this program, and I don't know why it does this, but it tends to kind of lop off the ends. So you're only seeing like those 2 frames, 3 frames in the middle, which is, if we only do 5 frames, it's not going to really show you much. So be aware of that. Like, that's why I want you to have 75 frames out there so that you have, and then understand that maybe the first couple frames are going to get dropped and the last couple frames are going to get dropped. It's just, I don't know why it does that. It's just a common thing. We've had that issue for a while. And I don't want you to get hung up on it. I'm not getting hung up on it either. I want you to see. So, right, so that one, MP4, only showed the first frame and it dropped off the rest of the frames. Whereas the H.264 had 1 and 2. That means it dropped, either we didn't see the first frame, or it dropped the front and the end, so it got a couple more frames. But at 5 frames, I really can't do you a very good demo of what these things should look like. But I can bring up the I can bring up a Microsoft Stream channel that we've done in the past, and maybe show a couple videos so you get an idea of kind of what we're looking for when you're done. Okay, and you're just going to submit your animation file. I don't need anything else, just your animation file is all we're going to need. So let's take a look at, here's some stop motion videos here. I don't know if there's any in here. Yeah, we got some in here. Yeah, so like, let's take a look at this one. Right, so pumpkins gathering. So this was in the fall, so it's right around Halloween. Right, so just a kind of fun little, fun little video. Right, so you can see each time he took a picture, then we converted that into a video. So pretty cool there. This one's kind of fun. So, right, kind of a Batman Lego thing going on. Little storyline. It's kind of why I like to use the Legos for it, because there's all kinds of options when you have a pile of Legos for things. I love this one, right? He got his daughter involved in this one, right? So, and again, right, build Legos. Let's do it. All right, very cool. And we'll do one more, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. This one's kind of fun too. Just think about the amount of work that was done. That was so good, right? I love it. So that's really fun, and that was really quick, right? So something like those, right? Those are all kinds of examples. If you want to check these out, I think I've made these available to everybody, right? So if you actually stream is part of the Office suite that we have. So I've got I have a bunch of channels out here, so you can go back and see old final projects and all kinds of other things. So if you go out to Stream and you search stop motion, you will find, I think there's a couple of them, but there's 22 videos in the stop motion section there, so that may inspire you to see, to maybe come up with an idea. I don't repeat it exactly, but take somebody's idea and make it new, make it different, make it fun. And have fun with it. All right. I think at that point, right, that's the end of it. Right. Once you create the animation and you can play the animation, right, don't worry about the very beginning or the very end. Right. We've already kind of gone through that. Those get chopped off as part of this process. That may be the Q scale thing. That may be something else. There may be some goofiness going on. I'm not overly concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is you kind of getting through the process and building an animation out of these pictures. And then, if you were to use that in the future, you would know, right, there's some issues with the beginnings and the ends. So the first, half a dozen pictures should just be kind of, blah pictures, and then kind of move into the actual story itself. Okay, and that's it. That's how you do that project. And you're just going to submit the animation file as your submission. Right? That's it. And I'll grade, and I'll watch it. I'll add it to the stream so that everybody else can watch it, and we'll have fun with it. Okay. Thanks for sharing with that. If you have any questions at any point, obviously hit me up on email and or Microsoft Teams. Teams tends to be quicker. I usually block out times to do email so it doesn't get answered as quickly. And I believe that will wrap up this particular video.